what are these skills? And perhaps what are these, how do you get alert or conscious of your environment, knowing or identifying what these things could be that could harm you?
Yes, naturally, man and our biological being is so configured, so developed to maintain self-sustenance, self-protection. And that is why when we feel cold, we want to cover up. And when we are hot, warm, the place is so warm, we want to loosen out. Now, it's about balancing the internal and external environment of the body. Now, without knowledge of things that are harmful, we can get harmed. If you are working in a chemical environment, chemical industry, and nobody has ever told you that the chemical is toxic to the extent that your respiratory health will be compromised by inhaling the dust from that chemical, you will just be there working with the chemical, unprotected. And then if you are not also told that you don't need to die immediately or get ill instantly just by exposure, that it could come after a long period of time of gradual exposures over time, a chronic exposure we call it, that could result to illness even after you've left that workplace. It does not have to be immediately. So if these are all the knowledge, then you are now told how to mitigate these things.
That's where the skill comes.
That's where the skill comes in. Now, the skill, in the hierarchy of protection, we don't consider maybe wearing mask as the first line of protection.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The workplace must be made safe enough for people to work in the most natural form. Now, using hand gloves, helmet, and so on, just part of what you become compelled to use because all other methods, natural methods, have been tried and you are not safe enough. So people must get these skills. You are working on oil field, you're working on board a ship that is carrying crude, and then during transfer, you have spills on the deck. Now, you must be told why you are wearing the boot. The boot you wear, the sole of the boot is so designed. Yeah, apart from gripping, it's designed. It has some contour, you know, and then that allows the oil, if the layer of oil on the deck is smudged, you just have to step on it. And then these contours are designed so that the oil will just follow that and flow out. But if it is... You wouldn't sleep. You wouldn't sleep. But if it's totally flat, you just put there to sleep. So there are a lot of designs that are there. But every design is borrowed from nature. If you look at the sole of our feet, and the contours. Exactly. So these are all there. So the all engineering of this world are developed from the biological system of man and animals.
Exactly, that is where I actually want to start my question from. Because when we talk about safety, I'm wondering why we need to, because you are from the Institute of Safety
Professionals.
So I'm wondering why we need an institute for something like that, because naturally, as we are wired to identify what is dangerous, what can cause harm or bodily harm to us, as against some things that might just be there and then we wouldn't know it will happen to us, negatively. So we are wired to see it, to identify these things. Why do we essentially need an institute, and how do we further entrench this, in our culture, such as maybe organization, on a broader level, the government?
Now, the need for the institute is as good as the need to have water treatment, that people should not drink dirty water, that if they don't have clean water, that they may be compelled to drink dirty water. And then if they have been drinking dirty water and they have erroneously assumed or adopted the drinking of any water as harmless, that somebody must teach them the content of that water that will compromise their biological system and cause illness. So the training of people, whatever we know from home, will not be enough as we go out to the larger society, the environment. You meet a whole lot of things. Now, the word environment has to do with surrounding.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, here we are in the studio environment. Now, what you have in this environment is different from what you have in the market environment if you go out there at K2. And it's different from what you have in a factory environment where there's production process. It's different from what you have in the refinery.
The Marines.
Yes, and the marine environment. So different environments have different hazards. And then every hazard has effect on the persons exposed. And then these effects must be managed if the man must walk safely. Because if the walk is not safe enough, we say don't do it. But because of economic reasons, people embark in even jobs that they have identified as dangerous. Yes.
That's where the law is coming.
That's where the laws come in.
Right.
So the law is made to protect the weak from the strong. The strong is the one that has the money, that build the factory. The weak is the one that is poor, but that has the energy to work. And though he is engaged against the law says, even in the Constitution, that citizens should be engaged in safe work. Safe work. And so companies engage people. And companies would have done some analysis of their work processes to know how the extent of harm would affect their worker.
And even the neighbors.
And the neighborhood, yes. Because if you are a community that hosted a company and the company's material, the raw material is being processed to get an end product, and that can require the use of certain chemicals.
Yes.
And then these chemicals could be discharged carelessly.
Using the water and the environment.
Yes.
We've seen cases like that across the country, and now one wonders if our laws are really as effective as it should be to bring these persons to book. We've seen cases where some persons were employed and they had to face some hazard, some died in the process, and the road to justice looks like it's tiresome one. Talk to us about the strength of our laws to addressing these issues of safety, especially for organizations. How have we, or what are the gaps that we need to begin to look at closing up?
Yes, I think our laws are standard laws. They are consistent with international laws. The problem comes about implementation, execution, enforcement. Now, you look at it, the laws are there, the prosecutory system, the investigations, reports, all these are processes, and sometimes they are compromised. Sometime in Lagos, we heard of a company, I was after Owode, Mile 12 axis to Ikorodu, where a factory owner comes in the evening, locks the staff in the factory, and comes in the morning to open.
Really?
Yeah, reason is because he recorded a lot of losses due to pilferage by in-house staff. And so people on night shift In daytime, he could monitor them. But in the night, those night shift people,
they have to be imprisoned.
They have to be imprisoned.
To work.
To work. But on this fateful day, there was fire.
My goodness.
And nobody could escape. People were roasted alive. Now, this is something we know about that is here. But how that case ended today, most of us can't know. But then, a lot of people spoke in favor of the factory owner. They say people have been stealing from there.
Does that justify the death?
Does that justify the death? And is that the only method he could apply?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where the institute, the necessity for this institute comes. You know, we can help the factory owners by telling them what to do. We can also tell the workers. Now, every company is supposed to have a safety officer, that's right, a safety supervisor, and maybe a safety manager, depending on the size of the company.